Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before we get into it, where are we at? We're tired.
We're tired, but I think I'm a lot more energetic.
You're in a good space now.
I'm in a great space because I feel like the biggest stress is over.
We made it.
We're here. So we're in London. We're at our Airbnb for the next few days and move into our house, which is the next big stress, but not nearly as stressful as
getting ourselves here.
Getting everyone here. But
so it's just getting our bags to our house now, all 10 of them.
All 10.
And everything else we bought in between. So today we are talking about, and I think this was a very requested topic, we're talking about finding a job and specifically about LinkedIn, because we use LinkedIn. We want to talk a little bit more about that. The week before we spoke about finding the country. So that's your first step, figuring out where you're going to go. And then where to from there?
Once you've settled down on the country, you've got to look at the job market in the country. And you have to look at what the expectations are. A big part of it is to start off with the CV or the resume. We assume that the CV or the resume format that we use in our country, our home country, is compatible
or recognizable
in other countries, and that's not the case. When we were looking at places like Canada, the format was completely different.
And what you find is when you actually apply for a job, they put you, before you actually end up on anyone's desk or anyone physically looks at your CV, it's going through a scanner. And if it's not in the right format, you're completely just kicked out.
We got someone to professionally tailor our CV for the country's format. There's a couple of important elements there. It's the format, it's the
cover letter.
It's the cover letter, which is not also necessary in all countries.
Sometimes you have to also specifically design your cover letter for the company, for each time you send your CV to a specific company as well.
So I think that's an incredibly important point, regardless of where you're applying to, whether it's in your home country or anywhere else. The worst thing you can do is just to create a generic CV and a generic cover letter and send that out, because that is what is going to ensure that you get kicked out.
So research is important.
Absolutely.
Understanding the culture of the company,
and that's because it might just be my opinion, but you can't. I don't think it's wise to just send out CVs blankly to anyone who's looking for a role. It's more important to do some research and ensure that you actually are invested in the role, you'll enjoy the role, and the values of the company, for instance, align with yours. And when you do that research and you put that type of information down on your cover letter,
it takes time,
yes,
but you're more noticed.
Absolutely. It also means that if a post goes on and you have the contact details of the recruitment agent or the hiring manager, it's so much more special if you address your cover letter to that hiring manager. For instance, I'm very interested or keen on working at ABC Pty Limited because growing up, I've always been interested in the values or in their environmental and social strategies or projects. Those types of things will then perk the hiring manager's interest
and set you apart.
Absolutely, because they're getting thousands of CVs or resumes. So you've got to look at what will make your CV or your resume different. And that's, it's hard for us to say to anyone or give generic advice on that. You might be able to, you might have a skill set that can be added that's different. I think it's important to remember, for instance, as a lawyer, every lawyer who's hiring would generally have the same degree and then maybe a postgrad. So what makes your CV different? That the hiring manager says, I want to look at this particular person. It might be experience, it might be added skills, it might be different types of exposure that you've had. It might be vacation work that you've done. It might be social work that you've done.
The other thing that also, I think for both our CVs, and it wouldn't be something you'd think would stand out, but our time in arts and culture tends to stand out for people, and they tend to also ask us about that. So don't think you shouldn't put stuff like that in as well.
You should, but I think that's more important at the interview stage. So for instance, I did a couple of stints on TV and radio, and I studied drama at the National School of the Arts. And as a lawyer, that's something that everybody asks in an interview. From my training, my articles, to my first jobs, every interview, it gets mentioned. a talking point, and it's also a sticking point. So that's
Makes you
my
memorable.
way. That's my way.
So now we've got our CV. We have done it in the format that we wanted. Where to from there?
Well, you've got to look for jobs, and there's.
And people generally don't know where to start. Like, where do you actually start looking?
I think everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of good job portal sites, and obviously we're not experts in this. This is just our personal experience. But LinkedIn is a big one. We'll talk a bit about the LinkedIn profile just now, but you also need to look at jobs that are posted on LinkedIn. Then Indeed, Peanut. I don't use that as much because I feel like Indeed pulls all of the jobs into their portal. Glassdoor is also a good one. So LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and Indeed were for me the bigger.
We'll link all of these in our description, so you can actually click on there.
So you'll find that no matter how big a company, their posts, even though they would probably post on their own website, they would post their website posts onto LinkedIn or Glassdoor and Indeed, and then when you apply, it will take you through to their private portal. And you need to create alerts. If you're looking for a retail sales manager role, you need to create job alerts for retail sales managers. So
in the areas, obviously, that you're looking at.
People don't understand how proactive you actually need to be in the job search. You need to be on those sites every morning and every evening. Every time there's a new role, then you need to have a look at it, so that you're one of the first to get your CV in. You start to get an idea of the different type of roles. There's flows in the market, ebbs and flows. So at different times, companies are looking, and they all tend to be looking around the same times in the year. For instance, in the UK, the year starts on the 1st of September, whereas in South Africa, the year starts in January. And so after those summer holidays, there's a major drive. So you've got to look at the market.
When are people hiring?
When are people hiring? I mean, they will hire throughout the year, but there's generally a time when there's a peak, when lots of companies, so people are moving around, so there's a lot more roles available.
Okay, and then LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is really powerful. We know that. The algorithm is amazing. So I think networking on LinkedIn is really important as well. But I think also just zhuzhing up your profile.
LinkedIn is such a powerful social networking tool. It's how recruiters globally will look and verify whether the person whose CV they've received is someone they actually want to hire. So even if you haven't applied via LinkedIn, if you apply through their job portal and they receive your CV, they will search your LinkedIn profile. There's a couple of things. Firstly, your LinkedIn profile itself needs to be strong. So when you're on LinkedIn...
Okay, but before you even get to that, I think when you are seriously looking for work, it's important that you also upgrade your account, because having a premium account, you get extra tools as well.
The premium account are obviously fantastic, but I don't think it makes your life any easier or
Look, I like seeing the views though.
No, but that's different, because that doesn't mean that you're not getting work.
No, of course.
All it does, a LinkedIn premium profile allows you to see who's viewed your account. If you if you interviewed if you applied on the Easy Apply, you get notifications when your CV's been opened. You get notifications
of where you rank.
But it'll show you how many other people have applied. It'll say 30% of the applicants have a similar master's degree to you. 50% of the applicants are a senior level like you, or 10% are exec level. So then you start to gauge where you fit in. This can also be misleading, because that doesn't mean that it has any bearing on your chances. A recruiter knows what they're looking for. So
would you say it's not essential then?
I don't think it's essential.
Okay.
I think that it gives you peace of mind.
I liked having it. So
it does.
I did one of those like trials. So I mean, you can do the trial as well, and then see whether it's something that appeals to you.
So it does.
And then you get a discount sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So when you stop your trial, they'll offer it to you at a discounted rate, which is what we did for a further 3 months. So we ended up having it for like 6 months, and now I went back to my normal profile.
The benefits are there's a lot of courses. There's coaching in terms of interviews. There's a lot of videos by top-ranking CEOs and LinkedIn members who can coach you along the way, along your journey. Obviously, it's videos. It's not personal one-on-one coaching, but it's videos that have been loaded and courses. But it doesn't give you any
An
more
upper
steep
hand.
than anybody else. All it does is gives you the information.
So coming back to LinkedIn, we talked about what to do with your profile. So what can you do? First, you have to have a good profile picture.
It's
a professional profile picture, not a selfie.
I liken it to our cell phone calls. So back in the day, people could call you from unknown numbers, and you'd answer because you wouldn't know who it was, and you'd answer because you wanted to know who it was. These days, nobody calls from an unknown number unless they're suspicious. It's the same with LinkedIn. It's a professional networking service, and so a social site. So if you don't have a profile picture, you almost distrust it. This is networking. We want to be able to see that the person that we're hiring is true to themselves, and also not afraid and not hiding behind social media. So I would say it doesn't have to be professionally done, but it needs to look professional. So I wouldn't do selfies, and I wouldn't do if your profile picture on Instagram is not the same profile picture you'd have on LinkedIn, then think about how you'd want to show up at work and how you'd want to look at work, and that's what your profile picture should dictate. It doesn't have to be stuffy, but it shouldn't be
that's an interesting choice of word, stuffy.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be your social media general profile picture.
It's not your Tinder picture.
No, it's not even your Instagram picture, in my opinion. It should align with the level of professionalism that
you want to include.
That workplace that you want to attend requires.
Okay, so then the profile itself. You want to give as much information about yourself and what you do.
And LinkedIn does that, right? LinkedIn tells you your profile is 70% strong because there's information there. And recruiters will match the information in your LinkedIn profile to the information on your CV.
And then you can also do skill checks, which is nice on LinkedIn. You can actually say these are your skills, and you can do a skills test.
What is good about the skills test is that in terms of the algorithm, it pushes you up in terms of searches. So why do we talk about the algorithm? What's important about the algorithm? When a recruiter is looking, they will type in the search, bank manager, South Africa, bank manager, London. The algorithm will then pull up everybody whose profile on LinkedIn matches that. Now, that's a lot of people globally. So you have to do things on LinkedIn that starts to push you up the algorithm, and that means being active on LinkedIn.
So apart from just the skills, it's actually doing things. So like liking people's posts and commenting on people's posts and actually posting.
Absolutely.
Because that's one of the ways you actually grew quite a lot in your network as well, was when you started to post more. Because the minute somebody likes your post, all of their everyone in their network sees your post because it shows that person liked it. So it's got like a phenomenal algorithm for being noticed. So just posting on LinkedIn gets you very noticed.
So posting, commenting on others' posts, the comments that you have are very important because friends of friends will see those comments. That's how people will start to engage with you and add you. So the worst thing you can do is be afraid of connecting and networking.
And DMing, because the other thing, so you could, for example, see a job and do the easy apply, but the minute you're not in that country, it might kick you out before somebody physically sees your CV. So you could also look at who has posted on LinkedIn and send them a friendly DM.
But you also should just connect with people who are like-minded and in similar roles in the places that you want to work in. And during the pandemic, I think that was a fantastic time to do that because lots of people set up times for virtual chats. I had chats with professionals around the globe because we connected, and I would message them a private message. Hi, thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Well, thanks for connecting.
Thanks for connecting. I'm so-and-so and I work in this field. I would love to have a chat, or I'm interested in how this field operates in your jurisdiction, your country, or I'm interested in making a move to your country. If you have any spare time, I would love to have a half an hour virtual chat with you just so that I could get a bit more familiar with
understand a bit more, or I have
Absolutely.
A few questions.
And I think my tip would be to not ask for more than half an hour because people are busy. Half an hour is a manageable time. People can say no.
And don't feel bad because it's like sales, right? You sometimes have to do 250 calls to get like 5 sales.
Yes, and some people may not respond. If they do respond and they are happy to chat, it's to then think about it very carefully.
And put down exactly what you want to say. Don't go in there blindly.
Absolutely. So you need to have a couple of questions. You need to have gone through that person's LinkedIn profile also to know a bit about them, because people are always interested in someone who's interested in them. When you get onto a call, when you're networking and all you speak about is yourself and what you want to do, it's very hard for people to engage with you. But when you allow people to speak about themselves, then they start to connect, and then they want to engage with you more, and then they have more time for you. But like Luana said, you need a list of questions. What are the most important things that I really want to
What do I want to know?
What do I want this person to know about me, and how can I subtly put that across in the conversation and make sure that you do that?
And then one of the most important things you can do on LinkedIn to let people know that you're open to work.
So there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. So the first is, you could be someone who is currently unemployed or in between jobs and you are openly looking for work. So then you can set your profile publicly to be open to work. So everyone will know that you are looking for work, and
that's okay because you're unemployed.
Right. You may, however, be in a current position of employment and not want your current employers or your colleagues or even just people in your network to know that you're looking to make a move. LinkedIn allows you to go into your profile and create this open to work position, which is then sent out to recruiters. I wouldn't say sent out, but it's a channel.
It flags you.
Yes, so it's a channel that recruiters can see you through the back end of LinkedIn, but the public can't see it. So when you go into there, it asks you which areas, which jurisdictions or countries are you open to work in, and that's where you can list. I think you can list up to 4, it may be 5 countries that you'd want to work in. So for instance, you would say South Africa, Canada, London. That then allows recruiters in these countries
when they are looking and you match the skill set.
And then the next option says, show this to the public or show this to recruiters only. And it's very important to tick recruiters only. In this way, when someone who's not a recruiter clicks onto your LinkedIn profile, they cannot see that you're open to work. But a recruiter has a special channel that they enter LinkedIn with, and they can see that you, because they are registered as recruiters with LinkedIn, so they can see that you are open to work. So what will then happen is that when they are looking for someone and they can't find someone in their country, they look out into the broader LinkedIn community, and then they will generally message you with the message saying, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I see that you're open to work in Canada. We're currently looking for someone. Would you be interested in discussing? And that's your way in. And that's why LinkedIn is very powerful, because if you haven't set your location correctly in terms of where you want to work, then those recruiters are never going to contact you.
So it's great that you can actually stipulate. So it's great if you are looking to relocate, you can specifically put in those countries or the places that you're looking to go.
And if you're unsure about anything you do on LinkedIn, make your changes to your profile, go out and go back in and have a look at what your profile says, or ask a friend, ask someone close. Please just go into my LinkedIn profile and see that it doesn't say that I'm open to work, because then you can be assured that nobody else can see it. You got to always double check that. It's a simple things, right? Same as with your CV. Your LinkedIn profile must be succinct. No spelling errors. I had a spelling error on my LinkedIn profile for a long time. One of my friends gave me such nonsense about it when he found it. Those are important things, right? No recruiter is going to want to hire you if you can't even spell properly on your LinkedIn profile, and that's a mistake that I made. And then you put all your education down. You put your skills. What types of things do you do? What are you interested in? Are you interested in problem solving? Are you interested in analytics? Are you interested in teamwork? Those are types of things.
You can also do job alerts on LinkedIn as well. Like you could do it on Indeed and those sort of things. You can do job alerts, and you could put areas. So the minute those jobs come up in those areas, you can be the first to easy apply or look at who posted it and then DM that person as well. So it's important to create your alerts on LinkedIn as well.
The last thing that's very important is when a job is posted, you need to check if they're willing to look at people who are outside the country. If they are, or if it's not clear, then you can always apply, and then you can inquire. If they say no, we're not looking at anybody outside the country, then don't.
Sometimes they stipulate that. They say we're not looking for. Then you don't want to be that person that's now saying, but I have this, this, and this, because most of the time they're going to think.
Absolutely. It's also they should say in the job profile must be able to or legally allowed to work in so and so country.
So you'll know people that, for example, are sponsorship companies that they will say,
or if they say must be able to legally work, then you need to know whether you're legally able to work in the place without a sponsorship. But if you need a sponsorship to get there, then what they're basically saying is we don't sponsor, so we don't want to have to deal with that. So I think the last thing that tip
this is the last thing, because you said 3 last things so far.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, I can think of a lot.
We tried to keep this video under 10 minutes and I don't think it's going to happen. Just a lot of information.
Yes. You need to get people that you trust to make recommendations on your page. So you send requests. Please recommend me. There's a tool on LinkedIn to say send a request for a recommendation, and then you need to get people to endorse you for certain skills.
Endorsement, that is an important thing.
And you need to endorse people because it's everything's a
obviously
two-way
people
street.
that you know
It's
and
a
that
two-way
have worked
street.
with.
So yes, you can't lie.
But not going to get your friend around the corner to just say, hey, endorse me.
So generally, you'd send a recommendation request to your colleagues. Because that's how you build a LinkedIn profile. So when someone goes to a LinkedIn profile and they see that someone very high up in your company has endorsed you or has recommended you, then they automatically start to have a bit more of a sense of trust towards you. So I think that's a very good way to engage.
Think about it like Facebook. When you get a friend request and you go into this person's page and you look at this like blank page has just been started, nothing on there, you immediately get suspicious. It's a very similar thing. So the more information that's on there and the more forthcoming you are with information and the more active you are, there's better trust.
And I think so. One final comment.
The final is this the final?
Just be careful on how you post on LinkedIn in terms of, again, it differs for everyone and the types of roles and what you want to know. But if it's not necessary to comment on LinkedIn on certain things, don't.
So sometimes you just have to scroll past.
Yes.
I think it's for any social media.
So, but more so for LinkedIn, because you need to be very mindful of what you're saying politically.
Does it add value?
Does it add value to your LinkedIn profile? If it doesn't, you really shouldn't be engaging in it.
It's a professional
on
network.
LinkedIn. Because again, those are the types of comments that get widespread views. So lots of people will see, what you have to say. So LinkedIn has become more and more social media-like than it used to be, in that there's stories, people post more about their personal lives, which is also wonderful because we're trying to merge
integrate it.
Merge the reality of life with the professionalism, but just be mindful of what you're commenting on and just think about
and the ethos of the company, because if you're trying to be hired by a company and you're posting something that it's going to kick you out.
Absolutely. So you don't want always think about who you'd be happy to see what you're about to post. And if you're not happy with your colleagues or future employers noticing something, then don't do it, because you'll never know who may get sight of any of your comments or what you share.
And sometimes you can delete it, but you don't know who took a screenshot. Okay, so I think that's it. Have we covered everything?
I think so.
But if you have any other questions, please post them in the comments. We'd be happy to help. We'll address them for you or reply to you. And I think that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with more information on the rest of the process. So I think we're going to visas next week and then clearing out our house the week after. We have a lot to get through. But for now, wish us luck. Send some wine, because we have a hectic few days ahead of us. We are moving into our new place. We are super excited, but with no help, no family this side. We're doing it basically just the 4 of us on our own. Busy toddler, inquisitive 7-year-old. So yeah, send us strength and lots of luck. So we'll see you next week. If you've been enjoying our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and please subscribe so that you can catch up on our videos as soon as they're posted. We'll see you next week. Bye.